Penn State Wisconsin game, which, by the way, yours truly nailed the final score of 28-13.
Is that true?
It's 100% true. I went back and I checked my document.
And you were like, call me crazy. I could see Drew Allan getting hurt right before halftime. And there's going to be Beau Pribula, a little spark off the bench. Yeah, that's what you said in the preview. Continue.
Drew Allan did injure something. Some sort of lower leg injury now, as I guess we refer to it in college football, which kind of drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a knee tweak. I don't know if it was ankle. James Franklin, I think we know by now, will not tell us what it is because he's prickly about these sorts of things. But whatever it was, Drew didn't come back in the game, and that meant it was Beau time. It was time for Penn State's version of Dr. Beau. It was, in effect, Trace McSorley 2.0.
Yeah.
And I felt kind of crazy thinking this as I was watching Beau Pribula just move the ball at will out there with this offense. But I started genuinely having thoughts like, should this guy be the starter? And I don't think he's got near the ceiling of Drew Allan. And I almost feel dirty even thinking it. But there was definitely a shift when he came in, their ability to use all of the running backs kind of in tandem, play off that read option that he runs pretty well. He threw the ball pretty well. I have seen other instances of Beau Pribula where he does not throw the ball nearly as well, but they had this defense on skates. This defense, much like the LSU defense, I'm talking about Wisconsin here, was not prepared for Pribula to come in and have that kind of impact. They were prepared for him to come in at moments, a package down by the goal line if you need a 3rd and 1, that type of thing, but certainly not to play the entirety of the second half. He was really good. He looked really good. He was in command. It just kept, much like the A&M thing, just kind of kept humming. It felt like momentum was entirely at their back. And again, Penn State ends up getting a W, road spot in Madison. Now they go next week into Ohio State, which of course we'll preview on Thursday, but a big road win, and he was able to help change their fortunes.
Yeah, on the other side, Wisconsin's offense, I don't know what you do at this point. It doesn't seem like a passing game will exist against a quality team in the near future for Wisconsin. As much as they move the ball in a balanced way, I believe, against Rutgers and Purdue, and to a lesser extent Northwestern, they scored 20-plus points. That counts as something. Against a quality defense. And if you look at what Penn State fans do not love Tom Allen. They don't love him that much, especially early on in games when teams are able to like come out and execute a game plan with not a ton of resistance. You saw it against USC. Yep. Obviously, you saw it earlier in the season against a team like Bowling Green. And Wisconsin was able to move the ball with some success early. And that's another team that seems to get stronger as the game goes on, bringing a little bit more pressure in the second half. But Wisconsin, there has to be an off-season retreat to one of the thousands of lakes in the great state of Wisconsin to say, what are we doing on offense? Who are the quarterbacks we need to be recruiting? What types of offensive linemen should we be recruiting? How much money are we throwing at receivers in the portal? Are we running 5 tight end sets? What are we doing? What is the actual vision for this offense? Because you bring in Phil Longo, who had all sorts of success in a couple different places. They don't have the receivers to be wide open. They have good running back play here and there. The offensive line play is uneven over the course of the season, and it'd be cool if Braden Locke worked out. It doesn't seem like he's working out. He didn't obviously win the starting job for this team, and so I think there's a lot of inward searching that needs to be done with Wisconsin because it's just not happening against these quality teams.
Well, the irony is that he did have guys open in this game, and
drops and
he had guys open. He was horrible.
I try not to use language like that, but
these throws were, well, let's just call it what it is. He was horrible in this game. There were moments in this game where I jotted down in our note sheet that he forgot to do the firmware update.
Right.
He was glitching. Really bad. One hop Charlie's airmailing it.
But airmailing 6-yard outs. Yeah.
It was really bad. The interception, the pick six that he threw that kind of swung momentum in favor of Penn State.
Yeah.
I don't know how, they're wearing white, literally all white in the middle of the field. He threw
not
it right
close
to him.
Yeah.
So maybe he's not the dude, right? Clearly, I think he's kind of made that case that he's not the dude, but given circumstances, he has to be. I think you're right. There needs to be some sort of soul searching going on. If you're Luke Fickell and that offensive staff, like, it may not be the year this year, but at some point we got to figure out what we're doing here.
Or did Desmond Ritter make this guy's entire career? Yeah. I hope not, because I still am a believer in Luke Fickell, because I think this defense is improving and should turn into one of the Big Ten's better defenses. But and look, this is a backup quarterback. It was a backup quarterback last year. It was a backup quarterback this year. It's a tough watch.
It's a really tough watch, yeah. But all due credit to Penn State. Penn State changed its game plan. They did it out of necessity. It'll be interesting to see what they look like next week, because it wasn't just Aller denied. Dennis Sutton was out for a good chunk of the second half. They also had a lineman get hurt. So at this point in the season, it's going to be week 10. Everybody's a bit nicked up.
I like, by the way, that you're like, maybe Beau Pribula is the guy. Who's next for Penn State? Congratulations, Beau Pribula. You might be the guy, maybe if Drew Allan's injured, especially. Ohio State.
Yeah, I don't like those odds,
yeah,
frankly, of Beau Pribula going against that defense. And I still think Drew Allan's the guy, but the ease with which he helped move the ball down the field with this offense, I'm only a simple man.
I hear you.
Can't
You know who's
help
not
but
the guy?
ask that question if this is a team that you care about.
You know who's I was going to say, not the guy for Penn State. Anybody in that receiver room. Not pass catcher. Tyler Warren is the guy, for sure. He is the offensive weapon, or at least was after the USC game, and I still think has the highest ceiling of anybody who can catch the ball or do whatever with the ball on this team. There's no receivers. I tweeted out, where are all these 5'10 dudes? Where's KJ Hamler? Where's Jahan Dotson? Where are all these dudes? I know Taylor Stubblefield's not the receivers coach anymore. Can't find a guy in Virginia? You can't find a guy in Metro Detroit? What's going on, Penn State? I was so entertained for so long. Entertain me some more, please.
Look, I'm with you. And I don't know if it was the threat of the run that opened things up down the field, but we saw Harrison Wallace get more involved, Liam Clifford get a little bit more involved. But yeah, right. I mean, Julian Fleming has basically been anonymous this season. He's had a couple good catches, had a really bad drop this game.
Yeah.
But all things considered, that remains the question, just as it was at the start of the year. Penn State wins, by the way, 28-13.
Yeah, we're sitting here picking apart Penn State. They were down for a chunk of this game and slowly paced their way to a comfortable win.